Hey everyone, my name is Nathan Payne. Welcome back to another episode of Blu Ocean Crypto. So I want to cover the recent Mavia update, which was 2.6.0. There's actually a fair bit of different things that happened with this one, and it's always not super clear with the change log too, right? We don't get a lot of the nuanced little details. So I want to go through what we've found, as well as kind of dive a little bit more into the balancing changes and what really happened with a lot of the troops and structures. Okay, so without further ado, let's jump right in.
I want to play.
Okay, so you'll see this in the App Store. It's pretty much the same, but I like checking it out in game. You just go over to the update log. So we can see that Warlord's available. You know, we already talked about that. That's obviously awesome, but let's dig into the other things here. So Brute and Helicopter's impact is now an area instead of a target. I personally really like this for the Helicopters. I haven't noticed much of a difference with the Brute doing it, but still kind of interesting to know now that he's kind of more of an AoE. He can hit things kind of close to him. I think where this will help more is when you're attacking an enemy hero. Like let's say your Brute gets caught up on a mirror, or your Brute is maybe attacking a building next to the enemy mirror. Ideally now you'll be able to do damage to the hero. But the rebalancing troops and building stats, this is what a lot of people wanted some information on. So we don't have the exact stat breakdown that we can share, but we do know some of the changes that happened. So for example, Brutes do a little bit more damage now, but they have less HP. I feel like the HP was actually changed probably a fair bit. The damage doesn't really feel much different, but we do know that. Boom carts now do a little bit more damage, but that's also because walls are back. It at least feels like they're back to their old hit points were, you know, before they kind of got nerfed and were a lot weaker. I actually really like this change. I think it's a lot better for attacking and defending because the walls kind of felt like they didn't matter so much before. Now, as far as air goes, we know Skyfire's got quite a bit of nerfs. Their damage went down and their HP went down. So the biggest difference, the way that you can figure this out, is it only takes 2 anti-air hits on a group of Skyfires to kill them, where before it used to be 3. So obviously it's a significant amount of HP. The DPS is less, but not a ton. You know, I'm still successfully doing air attacks, but it's good to note that. Whales did get a reduction on their HP as well. And I think Helicopter's got a slight buff there. Now, as far as the structures go, the only one that I think got any kind of changes was actually the anti-air missiles, where they do a little bit less damage and have a little bit less hit points now. I don't think any of the other structures were actually changed. And I will admit it's kind of difficult to figure this out because they just say balance changes, and we don't always get to see exactly what those changes are. So just through battling and kind of taking a look at different stats, we can kind of deduce or put together what a lot of those balance changes were. So if we just head back over here into the update log, that's pretty much everything for the rebalancing and building stats. There's an optimized move all. I think this was much needed. You got to be careful to make sure that your obstacles are out of the way. So like any rocks, right? But if you just hit the move all, you can see now, this is such a quality of life thing when it comes to base building, because let's say you built your base and by the end you finish it, you realize you're off center, you know, a little bit. Well, now you can just move your base back to however you like. This is fantastic. It's honestly going to make base building so much easier, just being able to move all like that. So I'm really glad that that was something that they fixed. They had it in the game before, but it just wasn't quite working properly. Now it is. Let's actually go back to the bulletin board again. There's a couple more points I want to go through with you guys. So they said that there's a building requirement for Hero Pedestal. They updated it. That's basically just having to do with your lab. If you're already HQ8, you upgraded your lab, it wouldn't matter. But basically that's what that's for. You know, there's a certain level of your lab that needs to be in order to unlock the pedestal for Mira and also Warlord. Now, defensive heroes can use passive skill. This is interesting because it did feel like a huge advantage on offense when you could attack the enemy Mira and she would just simply sit there and whack you and not do anything. Now she's using her combo and everything, which is, I think, way more fair. I actually like it on defense. It means that our heroes defensively have more utility. They're better at it. So I do think this is something that needed to be done. Maybe they just didn't get around to doing it, you know, when a while ago, and this was kind of just a feature that they knew they were eventually going to add. And it makes sense too, because a lot of the skills had to be fleshed out and figured out, which are only really kind of recent to begin with. And then there was a whole bunch of minor UI corrections, bugs, fixes, and optimizations. However, the best part, in my opinion, well, the Warlord might be the best part, but one of the best quality of life things that personally I found, and I have to show you guys this because this is just, oh, it's so great. And this is actually a tag I shared from a different a video, but I just want to show you this because you can now hide the HUD when you're playing or when you're in here. So show you an example here. Actually, in a replay, it won't show us that. So I need to show you a live battle. Why don't we do that here? Because this is just so amazing. Actually, let's attack myself. That'll be an easier way to do it. We'll just do a fight it. Now, let's drop all my troops. Now, do you see the little eye? Also, this air attack fails against my base most times. But do you see the little eye symbol on the right next to the total damage? Let me just get my troops down here. If I tap this eye, it hides the HUD. More importantly, it hides the end battle. So now you don't have to accidentally risk hitting that. I've done it before too. I'm just tapping the screen, I tap it, and then accidentally I end up tapping the end battle. And that's not fun for anyone. So this to me is amazing for content creation and streaming. Oh, it does look like I am going to end up getting it here. And this feature, I don't know why it wasn't listed in the changelog, but it is one of the best features I've seen in a long time. Because we told them before, hey, can you move it? Can you make it smaller? Actually, now we have the ability to hide the entire HUD, which is just awesome. Okay, everyone, thanks so much for being subscribed to the channel. Really makes a big difference. Do me a favor and smash that like button, and we'll see y'all in the next video. Cheers.